Okay, we're continuing what we were doing yesterday, and we're going to talk about using the calculator here. Okay, most of your calculators are going to be like this one. Okay, and in kind of a way, we always write left to right, do we not? Basically, I need to know which type of, if you want to know how to use your calculator, I need to know which type you have. Do you have the type that you put things in the same order you would write them? In other words, if I was writing sine of 32, what would I write first? The S, right? So I'd press sine first, and then you see how it shows up just like it is on my paper? And then I'd put 32, and then for safety, to be careful, go ahead and close that parenthesis. I know you don't have to on most of them. Okay, but sine of 32, but you need to be used to that for what we're getting ready to do. And then you would just press enter, equals. There's your answer. I said round to the nearest, what, hundredth? So what would we put? 0.53? Now, let me see how my calculator does it on my phone that came with it. See, the calculator on my phone does it just like this, same way. It does it just like that. Does anybody have one that, an iPhone?
It works on iPhone.
Right, let me see your iPhone. Will you get your calculator up so I can show everybody? Last time I used an iPhone, which I know a lot of you have it, you're sitting here like this. I need to turn, somebody turn one of those lights off. I think it'll show up better. There you go. Okay. If I press sine, see how nothing came up? See how there's just still a zero there? God, still having problems. Thought that would help it. Okay, turn the light back on. Maybe it'll be, that might be it. But, where do I clear this thing out at? Okay. Why won't it focus on this? Okay. All right. Here we go. Watch what happens when I plus 5 plus 3. 5 plus 3. You see how it only shows one thing at a time? And then you press equal. Do you see how it's not? Then there's calculators like this that when you do 5 plus 3, it shows you 5 plus 3, right? You see the difference what I'm talking about? So with these, with this type, you have to put it in a weird order, okay? You have to put the angle in first, okay? If you press sine, it's going to give you the sine of 0. Or if you press cosine, it's going to get, which is 1. Cosine of 0 is 1, okay? So what you've got to do is, we've got sine of 32 here, right? So on this one, I've got to press 32 and then press what? Sine. So if you're using your iPhone, you got to do what? Put the number in, what the angle you're finding the sine of first, and then press sine. Make sense? And how you can know which one you have to do is just simply press the sine button and see if it says SIN parentheses. If it does, then you're good. You can put the number in next, close your parentheses, press enter. Okay? Now, if you don't like this format, I'd bet money there's probably an app in the App Store that will do it the other way as well. Thank you. When we start doing inverse sine, I'll probably need it back. Okay. So everybody figure these out right here. Cosine of what? 15. 0.96 is what we should write? Oh, we're correct. 0.97. Thank you. Next one, what should I push? Press tangent of 43. Each time it's just going to spit out a number, isn't it? 0.93. Sine of 10. 0.17. Cosine of 14. .97 again, or .97, yes. And then let's go tangent of 89. 57.28. Okay. I know that seems like a weird number, but that's it. Now, another thing you need to look at on your calculator, do you see on the bottom right there, what does that say? DEG. You know what that stands for? Stands for degrees. There are different ways of measuring angles, and degrees are radians. So you need to make sure that your calculator is in degrees, not radians. You see RAD, you don't need to be in there. With this one, I imagine it's in the mode. Bring it up here and I'll change it in front of everybody so, in case someone has one like yours, they can see how to do it. Oh, it's iPhone. Let's see. Probably where the RAD is. Yeah, I pressed it, now I'm in degrees. If I press it again, it's on radians. So just make sure there's no radian up there. Okay? So everybody understand that this ugly thing right here, when you've got a number inside of it, that just represents, boy, my Elmo's having problems today, isn't it? That just represents a number. Okay, and we're going to treat it as such with an equation. Everybody got that? Okay. Now let's get that worksheet out and let's solve some of these. Turn one of those lights off, it might work better again. Try the other one. Okay. Finally. You are going to have three types to solve. And really two of them are the same. The first two when A side is your unknown. So you're going to have either sine, cosine, or tangent right here. And then you're going to have a number in here equal to, let's put the x right here and a number here. You'll have one like that. Okay? Or you'll have one like this, where you have sine, cosine, or tangent right here. You have a number right here. And then you have number up here, and you have an x down here. Okay? So for this type, we need to jump ahead, I think, to number maybe 34. Is that right? We're going to do the first one we did there last. And for these two types right here, we're gonna solve using proportions. Okay? So now, let's see, on number 34, what did we get? When you set it up, what did you get? No, there has to be a trig function there. The whole what you were supposed to do yesterday was figure out whether it was what? Sine, cosine, or what? Of a number equal to something over something, right? I had people in secondary make that mistake too. Okay, you got it. The whole thing that we were doing yesterday was figuring out whether to put what? Which one it fit into what puzzle it fit. Okay? So on that one, what did they give you? They gave you an angle. With respect to that angle, they gave you the what? Adjacent and the what? Adjacent hypotenuse. Which one is that?
Cosine.
So the cosine of 20 is equal to what? X over what? Okay. Have to have that cosine. Because X is the adjacent, 13 is the hypotenuse. Now, what we're going to do, what did we just figure out that this is? This is just a number, right? Whenever your X is on the other side, your X is not the angle. You can solve by cross multiplying and solving. This is a number, so it's cosine of 20 over what? 1. So what we're going to do is cross multiply. Don't worry about what number this is until the end, okay? So when I multiply here, I've got basically cosine of 20 times what? Everybody just look. You can write this down in just a second. Cosine of 20 times what? Equals, what's on the other side? 1 times x. Is there anything other than do? It's just x. X is equal to that, right? So what are you going to put into your calculator now? What did they ask you to do? They asked you to round to the nearest what? The rest is calculator work. How easy is that? So for this type, what do you need to do? Do what we just did. Press cosine 20, close your parentheses, times what?
13.
Times 13. Tell me what you get. Huh? 12.2. Is that what everybody else got? You're done. Wow. That wasn't too bad, was it? What's weird? Putting it into the calculator, right? Well, the other type you might have, which would maybe be like, oh, how wonderful. The next one, 35. How did 35 set up? Can you guys tell me? Tell me. Sine of what?
40.
Sine of 40 equals what? Is that what everybody got?
I have 10.
35 should be sine of 40 equals 14 over x. On 35. I'm not sure, did yours have a 10 on it?
I put 10.
Oh, no, it's not 10. Look what happened, hey, that would mess, I thought you said 10. 10? No, think about it, they gave you the hypotenuse. All they did, what confused you there is they flipped it, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know where all the others, the right angles on the bottom? Okay, so sine of 40 is equal to 14 over x. If my x is over here, I'm gonna cross multiply and solve. I'm gonna use proportions. Okay? Now when I cross multiply, what do I get? You gotta put the whole thing in parentheses, sine of what? Times what? Is equal to what? You guys see how we got that? Sine of 40 times what? Does everyone agree? Now, you can just write it like this if you wanted to too, can't you? This part messes with people sometimes. What did I tell you that sine of 40 basically is? It's just a ugly number, is it not? If I had this equation over here, 2x equals 14, would you guys have any problem telling me what to do next? What would you guys tell me to do next here? Divide by 2. What did I tell you this basically is? This is some number in front of the x equals what? It is, isn't it? Don't write this down. Isn't that what that is? Do the rules change here as they do over here? Just because this is ugly number times x equals 14, you're still going to divide both sides by what? That ugly number in front of the x, aren't you? So, with that logic, isn't this the same type of problem as this? Except what's in front of the x now? Sine of what? Here we divided by what was in front of the x. Here we're going to do the same. By this side by what? The rest is calculator work. Look, sine of 40 divided by sine of 40 makes what? 1, right? Because that's just a number. So put that to your calculator. 14 divided by the sine of 40. Tell me what you get. Those of you using iPhones, you'll have to say 14 divided by 40 sine and then press equals. That 40, when you press sine, what's going to flash up there is what the sine of 40 is. That's not your answer. You have to press equals one more time. You have to press equals, always. So you go 14 divided by 40 sine, then press equals. That's what you get. What did you guys get? Round to the nearest 10. Huh? All right, make sure you got that written down. Any questions on that? Make sure you've got that written down. I'm going to erase it here in just a second, talk about the third type. So you've got two types of problems here. It's going to be set up like this, where when you cross multiply, it's already solved for x, aren't you? And all you got to do is put it in the calculator. Or you're going to have one more step when you cross multiply. There's a sine of something, a cosine of something, or something like that. And then you divide both sides by whatever's in front of the x, right? And that's it. Okay? Those are the types of problems when x is where? A side. The unknown is a side. It changes drastically when it's here. It's actually easier, but God to convince you guys of that problem. So I got it down? Last time, when the angle is your unknown. So you've got sine, cosine, or tangent of what? X is equal to number over number. This is a special one, it's very different. We can't just divide both sides by cos of nothing, or sine of nothing, or cosine of nothing. Okay? So now let's turn back to number 14. On number 14, what did you guys get? Sine of x is equal to what? 12 over what? Okay. So what are they asking for here? They're asking for a what? They're asking for an angle, right? They're saying, what angle sine is 12 over 23? It's kind of like, so what you have to do, once again, when you had, does anybody know when you had 2x equal to 14, when we did that one earlier, why did I divide by 2? Does anybody know? Well, what am I doing here? I'm multiplying by what? 2. What's the opposite of multiplying? Dividing. Or the inverse. Okay? You're doing the inverse function right there. The inverse function of multiplication is what? Division. Okay? What we're going to do is what's called an inverse sine function on your calculator. Everybody look at the sine button on your calculator. What is right above it? You know, everybody's got that sine button right there. Looks probably like that. Right above it, right here, is written something either usually in a different color or something like that. What is it? Probably that. That -1 means inverse sine function. So it's gonna, what it's gonna do, instead of spitting out the sine, it's gonna spit out the angle. It does the opposite. See, when I find the sine of something, it spits out what the sine of, a 30-degree angle is. Everyone agree? When we press sine of 32, it spits out what that is. The inverse does the backwards. Instead of spitting out what the sine is, it spits out what? What the angle is. So this is what you use for this problem. And what I'm going to ask you guys to write on your paper next, even though it's all calculator work, is this. We're going to do an inverse sine function here. Anytime of 12 over 23 is equal to x. So how would you put that into your calculator? Okay. Okay, first see how I've got sine of -1 above that one? So I'm going to press the second function button and then press sine. Oh, I've got to turn it on. Second function, sine. See the sine of -1 up there? What do I put inside the parentheses? The whole what? I don't just put 12, I put what? 12 divided by what? This is why I was telling you guys not to worry about reducing that, because you're just going to do what? Put it into the what? Calculator, right? So when finding the angle, you should be using the inverse sine function, the inverse cosine function, the inverse tangent function, and putting the fraction on the other side inside the parentheses. You press equals. Doesn't that look like an angle measure? 31.4? Again, you have to be in degrees like that one is. So the angle here is equal to 31.4, and I want you to put degrees. Okay? So in essence, is that really that hard? All you do is just put it in the calculator, right? It's just weird, right? So you're going to be uncertain when you're doing. You're probably going to do it and say, "What's it? Is that right? Hey, that's where you say, Coach, is this right?" You when you quick look at it. That's why we've got the thing up here, because you're probably right. You're just a little mistaken. Okay? Let's do 15. Or let's do the next one. Pick another one for me to do. Let's do about 3 or 4 more from the worksheet. And you tell me which one you'd like me to do. Doesn't have to be this kind, it can be any kind. What number? 18? Mr. Elmo is not cooperating again. Okay, number 18 here. How should we have set this up? Well, this is X. What have they given me? They've given me the what? And you should have already done this, adjacent and the what? Hypotenuse. So what function is this? Cosine. So the cosine of what's X is equal to what? The adjacent, which is what? 18 over. So what do I want you guys, now, what's my unknown? Is it a side or an angle? I need to use what? Inverse functions here, don't I? So now you know, right now you're going to write cosine of -1, and then in parentheses, what am I going to put? 18 over 19 is equal to X, right? So then you're going to put that into your calculator. You hit the inverse cosine. And what am I going to put in here? 18 divided by 19, close parentheses. Press enter. 18.7. Somebody bring me their iPhone up here and I'll do it on the iPhone up here. Looks like Sam's got it. Okay. What you're going to have to do here is you're going to have to figure out, if I can ever get it to focus, you're going to have to do the 18 over 19 first. You've got to get your number. So you're going to press 18 divided by 19 equals. It's going to give you a long decimal, right? At this time, what are you going to, you're going to press second function and then press inverse, what was this, cosine? Look how it gave me the same answer. So you're going to have to find the decimal for that fraction first and then press what? Inverse sine, inverse cosine into stuff. Everybody, I have no way I'm throwing a $600 device.
It's not $600.
Okay, it's down to 300. Still a lot of money. 400. That's not happening. All right. Everybody want to pick another one? You want to do me to do one of the other ones from one of these? Or do you want me to do one where the, what do you think? Anybody? Wake up. You want to start doing jumping jacks? Up, downs? Wake up. Somebody pick a number for me to do. 21? Okay. That's X. How does this set up? No, let's not do 21. That's cosine again. At least pick me a different trig function. Huh? 20? Look at 20. Why do I know this is probably the one that we haven't done? Because what did they not give us? Hypotenuse. What is the only trig function that doesn't have the hypotenuse in it? So this is tangent of X is equal to what? The opposite, which is 41, over the adjacent, which is. So, if my angle is an unknown, what am I always going to use? What kind of function? Inverse function. So this is the inverse tangent of 41 over 42. That's what X is going to equal. Now the only thing left is calculator work. Inverse tangent. Is it 41 over 42? Okay. Close that parentheses. 44.3. approximately 44.3 degrees. That's not so terrible, is it? Okay, what about one of these other ones here? You know, something in the 50s or 40s. Is there one you guys would like to see me do of these?
Number 37.
37. Okay. First of all, what trig function is it? Tangent. So the tangent of 62, and if you feel better, you can do it like that and go ahead and put the whole thing in parentheses if you want to. Tangent of 62 is equal to, well, what is tangent? Opposite over what? So what would it be?
17 over x.
Where's my unknown? It's a side, isn't it? If it's not the angle, this is where I'm going to put this over 1 and do what? Cross multiply. When I cross multiply, what do I get? Tangent of what? 62x is equal to what? What's my next step? Look at your notes. What did I do? I had a sign problem, I think. What did I do with the next? I divided both sides by whatever was in front of this x. That's what you pretty much always do, isn't it? Except for when the angle is your unknown. So what's in front of the x? The number tangent of 62. Everybody okay with that? It just is weird, right? It's something you've never done. But actually you've done it a bunch of times, you just never wrote it like this. Well, I like using approximately when I'm rounding anyway. What are we going to do? We're going to put that into our calculator, aren't we? We're not going to use inverse here. We're just going to say 17 divided by the tangent of 62. Correct? Press equals 9.0. Is that your answer? Yep. As far as solving equations go, this is pretty easy, isn't it? One more. Okay, let's look at 39. What trig function? Sine of what? What they get is opposite. Sine of 56 is equal to what they give me. Opposite, which is x over the hypotenuse. That's why we use sine, wasn't it? Where's my unknown? Is it a side or an angle? The side. So what am I going to do? I'm going to cross multiply and solve. What do I get on the left side of the equation? Tell me. Quit looking at them. Tell me. X is equal to what? You guys don't know?
Hey, Chris, Harris is on Snapchat right now. So.
Sign 56,
So, thank you, Trevor. Sine of 56 times what?
18.
18. Cross multiplying here. What am I going to do next? Put it in my calculator. Sine of 56, close parentheses, times what? 18. 14.9. So is this hard? You guys think you can do this? Huh? Let's do it. Let's get to work.